Hello people! Long time no see! I did make videos on my main channel, I did not make any booktube videos. I am so sorry, but I was in Ireland for 4 months. Great, now the sun is leaving. That's why I don't film with natural light. I did not make any videos in Ireland because I did not really have the chance to film because my roommates were always around. I was a bit too awkward to film around them, and I also did not really have the time, so I mostly did travel vlogs, and those are on my main channel. But now that I'm home again and my family is around, who are very used to me talking to myself in my room for a very long time, I can now do videos again. I can't promise you that they're gonna be very regular videos, but you know, we'll see. This video is going to be a wrap-up of my time in Ireland. So I'm going to show you what books I chose to take with me to Ireland and whether I read those or not, and what books I bought in Ireland and whether I read those or not, and obviously what I thought about them. So let me start out with the books that I decided to take with me. The first book was Robber Bride by Margaret Atwood. I had to read that for a reading challenge with a few friends of mine. I hated every single bit of it, which is also the reason why I can only show you this beautiful picture, because I left it in Ireland. I really have no interest in ever reading it again or touching it again. The next book I took to Ireland was Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. This was also for that reading challenge because we were supposed to read a book by someone who is not from the same culture as we are, so I chose this because I heard a lot of good things about it. I actually really liked it. I thought that was well written. I thought that it was conveying an important message. So I did enjoy it, and because it's so short, it was not too painful. The next book I took to Ireland is a book that I took with me because I wanted to take a German book and I wanted to force myself to finally read it. And this book is Die Jagdgesellschaft von Billingshurst by Peter Jakob. And this is a Sherlock Holmes, I mean you can probably see that, it's a Sherlock Holmes novel written by someone who's not Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I really enjoyed Das Geheimnis von Compton Lodge, which I already read by this author, so I also enjoyed this. I mean, it's Sherlock Holmes, it's good, it's a well-written book. I also took First and Then by Emma Mills, because a friend of mine who came to LeakyCon with me wanted to read it, so I took it. And she read it at LeakyCon, and then I decided to reread it again in Ireland, and I loved every bit of it. It's still my favourite YA novel of all time. I'm just gonna give it that title, and I'm gonna go back to this many, many times. Another book that is still in Ireland that I'm going to go get, though, is Das Phänomen Harry Potter by Melissa Anelli, which is Harry a History, and I started reading that at LeakyCon, or shortly after LeakyCon, managed to get halfway through it, and because it's such a chunky big book, I just didn't want to take it with me on the first flight home, so it's gonna come home with me on the second round. The last book I took to Ireland is Mutter, Mafia und Friends by Kerstin Gier, and I did not read this. I took it because it was German, but when I started reading it, I actually started reading it and was like, I don't feel this. I really don't feel like this right now. And so I didn't read it. A book that came out while I was in Ireland and that I obviously had to buy was Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I had a hard time in the beginning getting used to, you know, all of this representation of the spirals, of the OCD that's happening in the book. That took a while to get used to. I mean, it's not there to be pleasant, so it wasn't pleasant. I did like the book. It's gonna take me a while to be rereading it just because of the graphicness of the spirals. That kind of messed with my head a bit. Wasn't feeling too well while reading it, especially in the beginning. Overall, I enjoyed it. I think it's a very important book. I also bought myself The Witches by Roald Dahl, and I finished that very quickly because it's, you know, the writing is enormous. It's Roald Dahl. You can't go wrong with him. It's a good story. Duh. Another book that I finally bought in Ireland because I really, really wanted it, and I just needed an excuse to buy it and was cheaper than in Germany, so that was the excuse I needed, is Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls. And this is just a collection of, you know, one-page stories about important women of history, and they are lovely to read. They are very informative. They inspired me to read a lot more biographies of these women, and I think they're lovely to read to, you know, children, to just give them an introduction into all of the things that brilliant women did in the past, and to give them, you know, an idea of what they could do with their brilliant minds. Another book that came out while I was in Ireland was All That You Can See by Kerry Hope Fletcher. I have to say I did expect a little bit more. I was already disappointed with her last fiction book because it didn't go the way I wanted it to go, and this one again I felt like it didn't take the story, the potential far enough. I'm just not perfectly well suited with her writing style and the way she plots out stories. I think that's just me not fitting with her style. And a book that I bought solely for the edition is Chitty, Chitty, Bang Bang by Ian Fleming? Ian Fleming? Yeah, the guy who wrote James Bond. This edition is Macmillan Collector's Library, and I just love this edition so much because there's like the gold pages and it's tiny and it's adorable, and the story is absolutely adorable. It's well worth the read. This was my favourite book that I read in Ireland. Also 100% because of the edition I bought Dubliners by James Joyce, again the Macmillan edition. The book is pretty, and it's a collection of short stories about people living in Dublin, and having lived close to Dublin, having been lots in Dublin, I just, you know, wanted to take that Irish feel home with me. So I got myself this book to read a little bit more about the people that I spend a few months with. And then the last books, and yes, plural books, that I bought in Ireland were on a whim. I did not plan on buying these. I did not need these technically, but I saw them and I could not resist. And those are the American hardcover editions of the 7th, the 6th, the 5th and the 3rd book of the Harry Potter series. And this is gonna be my 4th set of Harry Potter books, and I have no reasonable explanation why I bought these, but I now have them. Okay, so those were all of the books, all of the bookish things for Ireland. I hope you kind of enjoyed the video, and if you have any thoughts on the books that I showed, or, you know, my Harry Potter excessiveness, just leave them down in the comments, you know how that works, and I hope I'll see you sooner than I think I'll see you. Bye bye!